This is the Southside School of Financial Freedom Market Report and Small Account Update for the week ending April 13th, 2024. The market finished lower this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average decreased minus 1.24% on Friday and was down minus 2.37% for the week. The S&P 500 decreased minus 1.46% on Friday and was down minus 1.56% for the week. The Nasdaq decreased minus 1.62% on Friday and was down minus 0.45% for the week. Looking at the week, we can see that there were 5 up finishes versus 10 down finishes for the major indexes. On Monday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 finished down, while the Nasdaq finished up. On Tuesday and Thursday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished down, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished up. On Wednesday and Friday, all the major indexes finished down. How did you do? My small account finished minus 7.9% lower, but generated cash flow of 1.53%. Even when the market falls and my account doesn't do well, I still get income or cash flow by selling covered calls and naked puts. This method does not only guarantee cash flow or income, it can also beat the S&P 500. Now, I don't use charts, I don't use fundamental analysis, I don't use indicators or signals, and I definitely don't sit in front of a computer screen all day to watch the market. I simply choose a stock from my watch list to sell covered calls and or naked puts. I do have 5 criteria for choosing stocks to put on my trading watch list. I will not reveal what my criteria are, but if you examine my list, you may be able to figure out the criteria for yourself. The last row is my benchmark row. That is, I measure my performance against gold, silver, and the S&P 500. I choose the stock option based on whether I own the stock or I would like to own the stock. I choose a strike price, an expiration date, a bid, and I submit a limit order. Then I wait for execution. If the sale does not execute, I may change my order or wait until the next day to submit a new order. Looking at my watch list from the week, the strongest performer on the list was iShares Silver Trust, ticker symbol SLV, in the second column. It was down minus 1.46% on Friday, but increased 2.4% for the week. iShares Silver Trust is an ETF that reflects the price performance of silver through purchases of silver contracts and other silver derivatives minus trust expenses. The trust is not actively managed but provides investors an indirect way of owning and participating in the price changes of silver. Looking at a summary of results, you can see that iShares Silver Trust has increased 17.68% year to date. I have generated cash flow from SLV in the past, but this week I generated cash flow from selling 4 different option contracts, 2 calls and 2 puts that range from $5.34 to $27.34. So, on Monday I sold 2 puts, one for $15.34 and one for $27.34. And on Friday I sold 2 calls, one for $5.34 and one for $10.34. That is a total of $58.36, which is not a lot of money, but the account is small, and $58.36 in cash flow was 1.53% of my account value. With this system, this money is free and clear. You can take it out of your account and spend it or leave it in to build your cash balance and or invest it. If you want to increase the amount of cash flow, just use a larger account. For example, to 10x the cash flow to $583.60, use a larger account, and instead of selling one of everything that I sold, sell 10. This strategy is guaranteed to produce cash flow immediately and every week that it is applied. However, it does not guarantee the amount of cash flow from week to week, nor the value of your account. The amount varies and the account value varies. Despite the variations in amount and value, the goal is to generate cash flow and beat the S&P 500. And that is what I am openly showing you every week as it happens. Please note that most professional money managers and their strategies do not consistently beat the S&P 500 every year. They usually lose, and they lose by a lot. Last year, this method beat the S&P 500 by about 12%, but in 2024, my account is down minus 26.41% versus 7.48% up for SPY, which is an S&P 500 ETF. That's a difference of 33.89%. So I am losing to the S&P 500 by almost 34% after the first quarter of the year. It is not unusual to beat the S&P 500 one year and then lose to the index the next year. Will I befall the same fate as most professional money managers? It looks like it because I am trailing SPY by a lot. Is it time to throw in the towel? Or will I gain on the S&P 500? Tune in next week to find out. Bitcoin watch. Bitcoin lost minus 0.42% this past week and is in a bull market. It is trading near all-time highs. It is up more than 61% year to date. Some people believe Bitcoin is the most transformative financial asset in 1,000 years. I think the best course of action is to DCA, that is dollar cost average, into the S&P 500 and DCA into Bitcoin at a 30 to 70 ratio for the next 10 years and or when you have invested at least $10,000. What do you think? What is your strategy? Do you know how to produce cash flow every week and beat the S&P 500? Do you invest in Bitcoin? As you develop, analyze, and implement your strategy, please check back to see how my small account performs against the S&P 500 from week to week by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you.